It's going out there. It's Thursday, March 17th. I'm Frank Curzio. It's the Wall Street Unplugged podcast where I break down headlines and tell you what's really moving these markets. It's my favorite day of the year, by far. NCAA tournament day. More important than anything. My daughter's being born. You name it. I'm just kidding. You know, there's some person out there going, oh, man, he's such a piece of garbage. He just said that. I'm kidding. It is an exciting day. I love it. I used to go away every single year for 20 years, see my friends, watch basketball all day Thursday from 12 to basically 12, get drunk, hang out. But now that I'm an old man, I don't do that anymore. I'm just going to go someplace and watch some of those games. But NCAA tournament day, awesome. And in a little while, I'm going to break down my picks. But first, I have a special interview set up. First-time guest, and his name is Lark Davis. If you're not a crypto investor, right now you're going, who? Who is this guy? Well, Lark has one of the biggest social media presences in the crypto space with close to 1 million Twitter followers. I'm pushing 10,000. 1 million Twitter followers and over 500,000 YouTube followers. Lark is not your traditional crypto YouTuber, which caters to a super young audience and just throws out some names to buy and, you know, just whatever. Well, so a professional trader, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this, whatever, a year or two, right? No. He's been doing this for a very long time. And the reason why he has one of the biggest followings is because he's not full of shit like a lot of people that I see, especially through YouTube. He's not telling you how he became a millionaire in a week and how you could do this. No, he's a former English teacher, got into crypto years ago and started videotaping educational videos. And also talk about the biggest trends within the industry and just breaking it down, which the best cryptos to buy off these trends, which ones are BS or you should avoid. And because of his teaching background, I think this is why he has such a massive following. He knows how to explain this incredible trend, this industry to the masses in easy terms, which you almost never see. You almost never see in this industry. You want proof? Read any white paper. Read a white paper. I have to read white papers like 6-7 times. I don't understand technology. It's crazy. So here's a guy that just totally did it from scratch, started blowing up, and there's a reason why you have a big following like that. It's because he's a good guy. He's getting it done. You're going to love this interview. He's going to be sharing lots of ideas, so pay attention. If you're not familiar with crypto, again, he's going to be breaking it down very easily. A couple of trends we're going to talk about, major trends like NFTs, Metaverse, and he's not going to give you ideas that are the main plays that everybody knows about within these industries. He's going to talk about some other companies that are just developing. His network is massive. It'll be a great interview. Enough of the buildup, and let's get to that interview. Lark Davis, thank you so much for coming on Wall Street Unplugged.
Thank you so much for having me on. Excited to be here.
So you're a modest person from what I know and what I see, but I'm not going to be modest because you have a very big following with crypto. You have a very big following on your YouTube channel, very big following on Twitter, across the board, hundreds of thousands. When did you really start getting into crypto, and when did you like turn that corner and say, wow, holy cow, why are all these people listening to me? And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. When did that all start? Because right now, you're one of the names out there and influencers that people feel like they could trust in an industry that has, a lot of people in it that you can't trust.
Sure. I really started getting into crypto in 2017. And it's interesting because when I got into crypto first, I looked for ways, well, how can I start earning crypto and sharing my journey? And I actually started posting on Steam, which I don't even know if people are using Steam anymore, but it was basically a place where you can post blog posts and people upvote it and you get paid for it. Pretty cool idea. And so I started posting stuff over there, travel and whatnot. And I started posting about crypto because I was super into crypto. And surely enough, those posts started becoming the most popular ones. And people were asking me all these questions. And I was sharing my journey, talking about, learning about crypto and the things I'm doing and my investing journey, so to speak. And I started making videos on YouTube because it was taking a long time to try to write out all these blog posts all the time. And I thought, I'll just record a video and talk about it and share my thoughts. It'll be quicker. One thing led to another, and then suddenly way more people are watching my videos and engaging over on YouTube than on Steam, and bada bing, bada boom. By November of 2017, I decided to quit my previous job as a teacher and go full-time into crypto, and I've not looked back since. It's been an absolutely amazing journey.
What subject were you teaching?
I was teaching English. Before that, I taught at university political science. So, yeah, it was good. I liked it. It was fun being a teacher. But now I'm teaching different stuff, I guess.
No, listen, teaching is great, and I know you always use that background, whether it's English and writing and video and stuff like that, but and bring it forth. I mean, it's important because, and the reason why I asked, and you mentioned the teacher thing, is in this industry, I think what people forget, and I don't see that you forget or actually do this, and it's probably intentional because you have a teaching background, is crypto is a new market to so many people. And I think the people who are in crypto believe that everybody knows the simplicities of crypto, but even in your videos, you break it down like, in very simple terms as someone maybe looking at your video for the first time that doesn't know anything about crypto. I mean, is that intentional? Because I noticed that. I don't notice that a lot, especially when white papers are written. It's Chinese to 95% of people, 98% of people.
No, I absolutely try to keep it simple, just really basing on the idea that if you look at the statistics, right, and it really speaks to reinforce what I'm trying to do. And we're actually about to release a massive beginner's guide over on my website. That's really exciting. Based on this exact idea that there's so many new people have come in. We had 200 million new people enter crypto last year that know nothing, right? Welcome, everybody, if that's you. But they need knowledge, they need education, and they need this stuff to be broken down in an easy enough way that it's not going to be, oh my gosh, this is so hard. It's actually pretty easy, but it is a big learning curve.
It is a big learning curve. I'm going over your YouTube channel for those of you on our YouTube channel watching it on iTunes. It is a big learning curve. And let's start there. What are some of the things that for beginner investors in crypto that you tell them? For me, when I do interviews, I've been doing it for such a long time. I really do my research. I watch a ton of your videos before, right, and get prepared for this. And I know one of the biggest things that I saw was contrarian, but maybe you could even dig into that, why that's important, because you don't hear the word contrarian in crypto a lot. Everyone wants to buy at the top when things are most excited, but you're kind of like Carmen saying, hey, be a little bit patient. That's just one thing. I'm sure there's others, right?
Buy high, sell low. It's a way of life.
You're
absolutely right about
it, right?
I know we do. I know we all do sometimes. Everybody gets caught up in once in a while. Look, the reality is you want to be contrarian to some extent in crypto. And my advice to new people when they're coming in, take your time, learn, don't FOMO. But most people FOMO, right? Because they're only brought in, their interest peaks. Well, look at this. This has gone up 1,000% in the last year. It must be really interesting. I should buy now. It's a winner. Unfortunately, that strategy, you're going to go all in at $69,000 for Bitcoin. It's tricky. You got dollar cost averaging in is just such a simple way to get exposure to the top assets in crypto, taking your time to educate yourself on what crypto actually is. Because if you understand what you've actually bought, you're much less likely to panic sell it when it's down a few percent or even a lot of percent, right? You'll go, wow, this is actually really special and cool, and I'm going to hold on to it. And of course, being contrarian is probably one of the biggest things that will lead to success in this market. I was here through the entire 2018, 2019 bear market. And the whole time I was just saying, just buy Bitcoin, guys, just buy it and hold it and wait. And, it's just a matter of time. Same situation, what we're seeing right now with this bearish market. The volumes have dropped off. The public interest has dropped off. The Google Trends have dropped off. The views on YouTube have dropped off. Everybody wanted to buy at the top. Now that we have a 50% discount on Bitcoin and Ethereum, 90% discount on some altcoins. Where are the buyers? Nobody wants to buy. Everybody who was saying, if only I could have bought at $30,000 when it was $69,000. Well, we're getting those price points again. Where are the buyers? Smart money is buying, though. We are seeing those on-chain accumulation trends actually happening, but it's not a mania. We don't have a retail mania right now. We have a smart money accumulation phase going on.
All right, let's talk the smart money accumulation phase, because you're someone who's been in this, crypto market for a while. I consider you a crypto diehard. And when I see crypto diehards like individual investors, we had Biden come out and talk about his executive order. For me, I called it a positive. I said it was a positive, and I know a lot of the bigger names say it's positive, but I understand why so many people think it's a negative. It's, it's anti-government. This is why Bitcoin was created. However, and I want you to correct me and feel free to go against me. So my theory on this is, if you're really a Bitcoin holder and you're holding long-term, you need institutional money to come in. That's the trillions of dollars. So trillions and trillions of dollars, right? And to get there, you need that. And for those guys that come in, there has to be a regulatory framework. Of course, it is the government. We know they can't run businesses. That's why there's a huge discrepancy. I want to get your thoughts. Is this good news, or is it something that's not really a big deal, or is it negative for the industry?
I don't think it's a negative at all. I definitely think it's heading in the positive direction. The unfortunate reality of the Biden executive order is, to an extent, it's a bit of a nothing burger. It would be nice for it to be more effective, but basically what he said is that we're going to direct a bunch of agencies to look into these 6 areas. We want to make sure it's not being used for illicit purposes. We want to make sure sustainability, we want to make sure financial inclusion, all that stuff. So basically all the 3-letter agencies that deal with finance stuff, go research it and then come back to us with some policy recommendations. That's kind of what the executive order was. It didn't actually say we're going to do this, this, and this specific, new legislation or anything like that. It was just kind of like, let's make some committees, let's talk about it. But it's a really positive thing, at least to be moving in that direction, because it is giving what a lot of investors have been demanding for a long time, regulatory clarity. And I know there's a very strong faction of people in the Bitcoin community who are, absolutely no government, very libertarian, very, cypherpunk sort of aligned. And that's absolutely fine. You can still do that within a regulatory framework. You can still have some of that freedom. There are always going to be services out there that offer that to you. But as you really hit the nail on the head, if you want money to come into this market, we're talking about all the money sitting in bank accounts. And we are seeing those bank connections starting to happen. The New York Digital Investment Group has partnered with dozens of banks, I think potentially even hundreds if we count all the individual branches, to all let those banks offer Bitcoin to their customers to buy, sell, and custody at the bank. Those stories are starting to come. Every few weeks, we're seeing a new story like that coming out. That adds up. You want institutional money to flow in. You want pension money to flow in. All that stuff, you need a regulatory framework. I actually saw a great statistic that was something like around 70% of investors that were asked by, I think it was Fidelity, said they would only invest in Bitcoin when they could get a Bitcoin spot ETF product to invest in. They didn't want to handle self-custody. They didn't want to have the real stuff. They wanted to have something they can go to their brokerage account, buy essentially real Bitcoin, but just a paper version of it. So that was a pretty shocking number to me when I heard that, because that means the interest is there. People just want different products available, and they want more regulatory clarity on taxes and custody and all this stuff. So I think the Biden order is moving us in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if it's that it makes it so much where they're looking for these products or ETFs. I think they're just looking for it to be easy where, again, we're talking about the masses here where, I have to establish a wallet. Why do I have to open up an account on every single exchange? How come I can't go on an E-Trade and be able to buy any stock I want? So I think the easier, and we're seeing that compared to, even a year ago, and especially 2-3 years ago, the ease of getting into crypto and buying Bitcoin. I think you're seeing more and more people. And also, from my end, I'm seeing retirees ask, I'd like to get to Bitcoin. I really know nothing about it. And that's a great conversation. That means it opens up the door for maybe 401ks and things like that as an alternative. So
exactly.
I'm seeing that and I'm with you, but I also understand the other side. I understand this was created to against the government, libertarian. I understand it. But if you're really a holder of Bitcoin long term, you need to see that if you really want it to go to 250, 300,000, even higher, whenever that time period is, you really need to see institutional money come in. That's how I feel. And again, we could be wrong on that. But I wanted to get into specific markets with you because one thing I love about crypto is this is where all the innovation is taking place. And when I say innovation, I'm not talking about EVs. That's an old trend where you're building on. You're looking at data analytics, AI. These are existing trends, add-ons, how to make them better, cybersecurity. I'll talk about brand new innovation that's disrupting world markets. And one of those things is NFTs. There's a lot of confusion on NFTs because I think people took it as a joke at first where, it's, bananas and apes and people selling these things and the huge fluctuation in price. But I want you to talk about NFTs because, some people think this is a fad, but the applications for this and what I'm seeing right now, I'm blown away. I don't know if you are, but I think this is going to be a massive, massive trend. And you're seeing more and more people not only get into it, but really start to learn more about it. Are you seeing the same thing on your end?
100%. NFTs are amazing. And NFTs, verifiable digital scarcity, verifiable digital ownership. If you ever collected sports cards or magic cards or something as a kid, or you any kind of rare items, then you should understand the value proposition behind NFTs. Now, I want to make it clear that what we've seen over the past 6 months to a year in the NFT space is to a very small extent on par with the 2017 ICO phase, where we had just rampant cash grabs, rampant scams. And we've seen some of those recently. We had a $70 million ICO ICO. I call it an ICO, NFT sale the other day for horrific art that ended up being a massive joke. And unfortunately, these massive raises are happening because there's so much money in the market that doesn't care and is just greedy and looking for the next thing to flip and make some cash off of, just like the 2017 ICO space, much smaller, mind you. But that being said, even if 95% of NFTs are going to go to zero, the reality is that this technology is super exciting, super interesting. We are talking about collectibles. We're talking about music, right? That's an interesting application. Profile pictures. All these kinds of interesting use cases are starting to come up in the NFT space. And it's super exciting. It's super interesting. And it will be a very big part of life moving forward as we see more and more companies adopting NFT technology. Look, over the last year, we've had probably 100 major international corporations announce that they are integrating NFT technology. And even if those are early pilot programs, fast forward 5 years or 10 years, when it's a completely normal, integral part of our digital experience.
You said something funny, fast forward 5 to 10 years. We try to do that fast forward 5 to 10 years, but when a concept comes up, you get so excited about it that everybody wants to see it right away. One of those things that reminds me is the Metaverse. We saw Facebook completely change its name. I don't know if that was just because they knew that their sales are going to go down tremendously once Apple switches privacy plans and now it's going to Google. I don't know why nobody believed them when they said that's really going to impact them, but now we can see it really impacts them, changing their symbol to Meta. Talk about the Metaverse here, because we have Decentraland, we have Sandbox. I mean, those are two tokens you could buy. I know, you cover this industry extensive. How big do you see this being? Because the companies obviously believe it. We're seeing, Nike come in, Walmart come in. You're seeing major companies across the board, like really pushing forward with this agenda. All the big name companies, all the big FANG names basically are involved in this trend, building out, just different extensions of the Metaverse. Where do you see this industry, and maybe how can investors play it outside of the Decentralands and Sandboxes if you're able to give away some of those things?
For sure. The Walmart Metaverse is funny. I can see that, let's go hang out with the Walmart Metaverse, guys.
I know, yeah.
Anyway, it's a weird and wacky world. Now, the Metaverse technology, basically, this is digital online experiences, digital worlds where you can go and do stuff. But also, it crosses over into a lot of different sectors when we start to talk about the crypto space, right? We're talking about NFTs. Most of the metaverses are using NFT technology for in-game items, in-game skins, in-game real estate. That's an interesting one. We've seen, for example, Decentraland and Sandbox, which are the two big metaverses right now. The real estate, the digital land inside these metaverses has literally sold for millions of dollars. Millions of dollars for a tiny parcel of digital land inside the metaverse. It's a crazy world that we live in.
Yeah.
That has been a great investment opportunity for people who bought those digital lands 2 years ago and were able to flip them, of course, now for huge profits. We will see other metaverses, other games having similar returns. Which ones is the question? There's a lot of them out there. Most of them are not going to have those kind of returns. But we're definitely seeing a lot of interest coming into this metaverse space. And I think the thing to realize about it, and you alluded to that in your question, was that we want it right now. And it's just not here right now. We have, for example, Sandbox and Decentraland are still pretty early in their overall experience. I mean, I think it was only a few months ago that Sandbox came out with basically their alpha version. So, and that's just, those are the biggest ones, the most developed ones. We'll see big companies coming in too, and those big companies will probably use some kind of NFT stuff, maybe in metaverse tokens and all this jazz. The real question, I think, is going to come down to interconnectivity between these different metaverse worlds. Can you take your NFT hat from Decentraland to Sandbox to the Walmart metaverse to the Facebook metaverse? That will be the real question, I think, looking forward, is how do we interconnect all these? But for somebody looking for like a crypto opportunity outside of the big boys, one that I've been really interested in and talking a lot about has been Wilder World, which is a very cool metaverse that is got beautiful art. It's basically, the concept is it's a digital version of Miami, right? So it's kind of, they're selling land and cars and all this stuff that you can you can buy now, and their Metaverse should be out in the not so distant future, but they haven't launched it yet. So it's an opportunity to get in before the launch, unlike Decentraland or Sandbox, which are already out in the wild.
Now, someone's covered the industry for such a long time. I realized when I was going through your videos, you have a lot of interesting ideas, altcoins, coins that you never heard of. And again, you're up front saying, these are aggressive, but it's a way to try to get in early ahead of the trend before they list on exchanges. How do you find these names? Is it just because you have massive connections? I mean, I've done this podcast for 14 years and it's been downloaded millions of times. So I can't explain to people how important that network is of just people across all sectors that email you, And so when you have that big following, 100,000 users, is this how you're finding ideas? And how do you weed out the ones that are really cool from real people compared to ones that are just guys that are looking to pump and dump some of the stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. I mean, obviously my network definitely gives me exposure to a lot of opportunities. I'm continually approached by a wide variety of people saying, hey, take a look at our stuff. Hey, would you like to be a pre-sale investor in our token here? Also, I do find things we do in the weekly newsletter. I do a weekly token sale section, which I actually write myself. So that helps keep me up to date on the new coins that are coming out. But definitely having connections obviously helps to get in as early as possible. But keeping an eye out for everybody who doesn't have a huge social media following and people constantly hounding them to invest in their tokens, is to actually find the good information online. There's a few launch pads, for example, that consistently have high performing sales. DAO Maker, Polka Starter, those are two that consistently have very high returns in the market. We also see, for example, launch pads on Binance, FTX, also continually having high performing sales. So we see really good returns coming out of the sales on these platforms. And you just need to follow them along on social media, follow their Twitter accounts, find out what it takes to be in those sales. And the potential is really, really big. I mean, as DAO Maker, as an example, they've had so many public sales that have literally done like 100x. So like, okay, sure, you only got a $200, $300, $400, $500 allocation, but $500 times 100 is a lot of money, so those opportunities are out there for regular people to get involved too. And one thing I just want to mention too about the altcoin space, I generally approach it with a sort of venture capital mentality based on the idea that a lot of these are not going to make it. And look, I try to find the best ones. I try to find the ones that I think have the highest potential, great VCs backing them, solid teams, decent, at least, tokenomics, a good idea that I think that they can actually implement and people are going to want to be a part of, want to use. But that being said, I don't always get it right. I've definitely invested in some duds over time, without a doubt. But for every dud, there tends to be a 10x coin or more, right? So if you invest $1,000 in this coin and $1,000 in that coin, and one goes to minus 95% and the other does a 10x, well, you're come ahead pretty well. So that's kind of my approach to altcoin investment. It is super risky, and some of them are going to go to zero, but the ones that don't are going to make it well up for the ones that didn't.
No, I appreciate you saying that too, because I think that gets lost where, you don't want people putting, all their money into these things. This is speculative. The thing that I love, and being a person that's followed small caps for over 25 years, the risk reward here has never been greater. If you're willing to risk that capital, your returns are so much greater than anything you could buy in the market today, especially with the valuations these IPOs and SPACs come out at, which is insane. And that gives you, an opportunity to invest in the ground floor, because all you need to be is right on one of these things. And you're right, it's 10x. And if you're early enough, it could be a lot more than that. And it's not like we're cherry picking. There's a lot of names like that, but there's also names that are going to crash. So you want to be careful. Now, I saw you mention that 3.4 million users coming into this market, or was it billion users? 3.4 billion.
Billion users, yes.
Sorry. The M's and the B's are getting mixed up, but the billion users, right? So that's the type of adoption that we could see, right? I think there's 200 million, and you would know this number better. I think the total wallets globally or something like that, which is about, a very, very, very small part of the population. But a lot of this is going to filter into Bitcoin. Where do you think Bitcoin could go from here? Not tomorrow, not next year, and even not next year, the year after. Maybe in 3 to 5 years. in terms of adoption, in terms of everything that's going on. I know you're a bull in this industry, but how bullish? I mean, it is realistic. Is it 200,000? Is it 500,000? Is it 1 million in 10 years? Because you get so many of these forecasts and nobody really knows. But from someone that's really dialed in, that's looking at the numbers and the new people coming in, I was just curious to hear your forecast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think $1 million per Bitcoin is not an absurd number, to be honest. And I think that statistic of 3.4 billion more users coming in is just so incredibly important. And it's something I keep reminding people of, because if you don't understand a single other thing in crypto, just understand that right now there's around 300 million people who have ever had contact with cryptocurrency, 300 million people globally who have owned cryptocurrency. Maybe they've had a little bit, and a lot of those people won't be serious investors. So 300 million people have ever had exposure to crypto. By 2030, it is estimated that we're going to see another 3.4 billion people having exposure to cryptocurrencies. That's using stable coins, playing games. We haven't even talked about play to earn gaming. That's a massive space. Playing games, earning in-game items, playing around in the metaverse, getting NFTs for free, selling those NFTs, buying stuff in the real world. That's the kind of future that we're looking at. And if you look at the last 2 years of adoption stories, more fiat on-ramps, more companies adopting, we're heading in this direction. And let's say that number, that prediction, currently Bitcoin, the adoption of cryptocurrency technology is outpacing the adoption of the internet. So we're moving faster, thanks, of course, to the internet. So if we're looking at that and we do get that 3.4 billion more users, that's great. But let's say it's only half right. We only get 1.8 or 1.7 billion users. That's still incredible, because we just saw Bitcoin go from its previous all-time high of $20,000 up to $69,000 with just 200 million people coming in. So let's add 1.8 billion people to that, plus all the institutional stuff that we're going to see coming in when we start seeing regulatory clarity, when we get spot Bitcoin ETFs in the USA. 52% of global equity markets are the USA. So a spot Bitcoin ETF in the USA, massively impactful. Let's let Bitcoin be sold at every bank everywhere, because that's where we're heading. We had a banking group actually come out this year and say that they're on schedule, according to the people they're talking to in their banking group, to see 300 banks in the USA sell Bitcoin to their customers this year. That's massive. That's absolutely massive. So when you start to put all that together, $1 million Bitcoin no longer seems that so absurd. When? Who knows? But I still see the $1 million Bitcoin.
No, I love it. I love it with the numbers backing it up too. It's not just, hey, it's going to 1 million without any numbers, where I know you did the research and the data and everything behind it. So let's talk about that too, and we'll finish here with Wealth Mastery, which is your newsletter that comes out. You talk about different trends, different things. And I want to give you an opportunity to explain if anybody wants to sign up or, first tell us what it is and how people sign up for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first off, I'd like to say you can sign up for free. So go and take advantage of it. You can sign up for free. But every single week, we're covering just a wide range of what's happening in the crypto space. We're talking about decentralized finance with literally a step-by-step decentralized finance tutorial. We're doing altcoin reviews, helping you sift through what decent altcoins are, what are crap altcoins. We call it as we see it. We don't sugarcoat anything. If we think an altcoin sucks, we're going to tell you that. We also do token sales, so the newest, hottest token sales, airdrops. I mean, literally, we're giving people opportunities to get free money with the airdrops. So it's a big opportunity there. We're interviewing, industry-leading projects. We talk about NFTs, giving NFT mint updates every week. So, huge value in this newsletter for people. So, like I said, you can sign up for free for it to get started. We also have a premium option, which gives you a few more, insider access points there. But we try to provide people with as many opportunities as we can in the market, because this is the crazy thing. Even though we're in this bearish phase, and we have been really for 3 months now, money is being made every single day in this market. People are flipping NFTs. People are making money in DeFi. People are making money on token sales. There's still opportunities in crypto, even in a down market, still ways to make money. And that's what we try to give people in the Wealth Mastery newsletter.
And if people want to find you, your YouTube channel, but what about Twitter here, which is, I'll bring that up too. So how can they do that?
Yeah, just come over on Twitter, say hi. Those are the two biggest places to contact me, YouTube and Twitter. So come over, say hello, and
yeah, and you only have 920,000 followers, man. Come on, you're slacking.
Yeah, I know. Gotta step my game up.
Well, the fact that you have that many followers and listen, we interview a lot of people from crypto, and also I see a lot of people with the YouTube generation, and I have to tell you, the content that you have and the stuff that you're doing is really, really impressive, man. So keep up the good work. I don't say that often to people. It just seems like a really good source so people can learn about crypto and find ideas and really good stuff. Know how busy you are. Know you're in New Zealand. I really appreciate coming on the podcast. But yeah, keep up the good work, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
What a great interview. I should say what a great interview, right? It's based on what your audience thinks. But, sometimes I get really excited in interview. That's one of the ones I really got excited about. I mean, I enjoyed it. You saw right away, Lark is not only smart, but he's a really cool guy. And he comes across great in the media, right? And that's not always the case. I talk to brilliant people and I've had him on the podcast, and we've had lots of edits, and they get nervous even though they're brilliant. Just sometimes you have to have like some kind of media presence and understand. I mean, he has like everything. He just checks off all those boxes. He's humble. Wasn't telling you got to buy this. This is how you be a millionaire. He's like, I've had losses. Some of these things kick my butt. This is how you do it. And you're doing the right thing when you have close to 1 million Twitter followers. You have to be doing something right, for that many people to like you. And sometimes you say, well, some people hate you, whatever. No, if you look at his audience and you see the following and Twitter and stuff, and not only that, we talked about the network of people that he has, which creates so many ideas. I just thought that would be a really good source for you. As you know, we're really into crypto. Crypto's a lot of fun right now. Yes, it's been incredibly volatile. Yes, some of these things are down, but I've been talking about the Biden initiative, how important that is, because we're looking at $250 trillion in global assets under management on the sidelines. A lot of that money, their clients, right? These institutions, their clients are begging to come into Bitcoin and alternative assets. That's what they want. That's not me talking. That's Jimmy Dimon talking. That's what they want, and it's a massive market that's liquid. In order for these guys to get in, you need a framework. You need some kind of framework, which Daniel and I broke down, and now that you have that framework, you're going to see institutional money start pouring in, even if it's just 1%. We're looking at a very, very small 1% allocation. That's a small allocation to any sector when it comes to asset management. And if just 1%, we're looking at what? $2.5 trillion coming into this market. And Bitcoin, it just goes into Bitcoin, which more money could go into it. We're looking at, what is it, a $700 billion market cap? You could see why this is a game changer and how many companies around Bitcoin and the good projects and those leveraged to the biggest trends, which we talked about just now. You can see where those things are going to go. That's why I'm so excited about crypto. Yes, you have ups and downs. Yes, you get your ass kicked sometimes, but we show you how in our newsletter, Crypto Intelligence, of how to buy these things, how to reduce volatility. You're going to see names at the beginning of the portfolio that are up a ton. You're going to see names at the bottom that are down right now because a lot of those names over the past year have pulled back tremendously. But we're adding to those positions. We've been scaling into those positions little by little. I have to tell you, all those names, I was up 10x, 20x, 30x, those that you see in the portfolio, those were down 20, 30% at one time. 2018, 2017, towards the end, even into 2019. But when you have good projects, good people backing them, things that make sense, you have utility features for that token, these things will explode. Now, to me, this is a game changer. This is a game changer. I've mentioned that a lot of times, and some people don't agree with it. They want total decentralization. Lark agrees with me as well. Others don't, which is fine. But if you really want Bitcoin, those of you holding Bitcoin over the long term, if you really want Bitcoin to go to 250,000, 500,000, you need institutional money to come in. It's not going to happen from retail investors. In order for them to come in, they have to check off that box. They have to know that there's regulation coming down the pipeline that's in place. And the reason why the president's focusing on this is because the institutions who lobby are telling him, we need a framework. I'm hearing that from almost all the big names I talk to, even security tokens. Well, we're trying to talk to the SEC. We're trying to talk to the SEC. And the SEC is just like, same with Coinbase. Coinbase was pissed off, right? Remember, they came out and said, we approached the SEC 10 different times. We approached these guys, whatever many times. And they didn't even acknowledge. Right? Now that you have the framework in place, again, and it's vague right now, but the fact that you addressed it and you didn't say, no, we're not going to do this in the U.S., it opens the door to massive innovation. Now you're going to see the floodgates open, and it's not just the institutions, and you say, well, maybe the institutions, it's what their clients want. So if you're managing $1 billion and you have hundreds of millions of dollars through clients, and they're saying, we want alternative assets, we want Bitcoin, and you say no, they're going to take that money out and they're going to go to another institution. That's why they need to get in. Money's going to flow in. These guys are going to do the vetting. They're going to be investing in a lot of projects. You're seeing that in venture capital like crazy. The money from venture capital that's going into cryptos is unbelievable. There's more money that was invested in 2021 than all the prior years combined. He was to the tune of close to $40 billion. So you can see my excitement in this industry, and glad Lark shares that as well. And getting in now in this market where you're seeing a lot of great names are down 50% plus. Great names. The garbage is down. It's probably going to stay down, but there's really, really great names that just that whole deleveraging that we've seen over the past couple of months in all speculative assets, a lot of that has come out of the market, but now you're going to see money flood in. I believe it. I'm not BSing you since my company is based on crypto. We're based on a security token, and I'm really, really excited about it. So really, really happy to now Lark, have him come on the podcast. He just, I was really impressed with him. Great interview. But this podcast is about you, not about me. I say it all the time. Let me know what you thought. FrankCurzioResearch.com. That's Frank at CurzioResearch.com. Now it is NCAA tournament time. And Gonzaga's going to win, and I'll see you next week. I picked Gonzaga last year, and they didn't win. And Gonzaga, although they're great, they don't have as good a team as they do last year. Doesn't mean they're not going to win it this year. But I want to go over this. I'm not going to break down every single game individually. I'll be here forever. So just want to tell you, a lot of you guys follow this. They're pretty good, which was weird on my Super Bowl bets, even the prop bets. And usually I get that wrong, and I got that right. But the NCAA I usually have a good track record for this. Something I follow. I love men's college basketball, my favorite sport in the world. But you never know what's going to happen. I will say, although it's pretty open this year, whenever it's pretty open, usually the 1 or 2 seeds are the ones that get to the Final Four. Whatever you say, well, it's pretty open, there's not a dominant player, it's usually those 8 to 10 teams are really better than everybody else. Not that they can't make a run and make it to the Final 8 or one in the Final 4, but that's what you usually see, which is kind of weird. And I think we're going to see that this year. So I know everyone has Gonzaga going all the way. You got Arkansas in the West, which could present some problem. I'm not really sold on Arkansas. I saw them play a couple of times. Texas Tech, I'm very familiar with. Everybody's on them. Everybody knows about them. They have a good defense. Kansas really shredded them last time they played. Their defense looked pretty bad. A lot of people are betting on Texas Tech. You might see them in the Final Four. I don't see it. They just didn't look good that last game. Again, I follow them. They were good during the year, but I think there's just too much optimism. They're not like a sleeper. Davidson's a great team out of the division. Then you have Duke. But I have Duke winning out to the Final Four. I mean, I've seen Duke play Gonzaga. What's great about this year is you have teams like Kentucky, teams like Gonzaga, not really Gonzaga, but Kentucky, Duke, Tennessee, Purdue. Well, not at Tennessee. Tennessee actually rose above that, but you have Purdue. These are teams that could easily make the Final Four. Great teams, great players, but they're just all over the place and not consistent. So it's just like Baylor was. They lost, a couple games at the end of the year, and everybody forgot about them. I knew how great they were because they blew out Kansas. And they were awesome last year, but they did lose a couple of games, which they kind of came off of my radar. I had them going far, not to the Final Four, and they did have that. That was a team that was great pretty much for 80% of the season, but they just didn't finish the season strong, and that drops a lot of companies off the radar, or a lot of companies. Wow, you know what kind of podcast this is, but a lot of teams off the radar. So I have Duke in the Final Four in the West. In the East, you have Baylor, you have Kentucky. Kentucky is a coin flip. Kentucky, I think, may be the most talented team next to Gonzaga. And Duke actually beat Gonzaga early in the year. That was a great game. But Kentucky is great. And they have actually experienced for the first time. Usually they have like one-timers there. If they lost their tournament, I thought they'd play better, but they could obviously get there. You have Texas in that division and Purdue. I love Purdue. I think Purdue's going to beat Kentucky. I think Purdue has a shot to make it to the Final Four. They have just amazing players on that team. I'm just surprised that they're not playing better, but they could beat anyone, and they're super athletic, get a lot of steals, awesome team. But I have Baylor. I have Baylor and Purdue, which is basically, well, that's not chalk, but Purdue is the 3 seed. So I don't have Kentucky. Kentucky would be a 2 seed. I have Baylor playing Purdue, and then Baylor going to the Final Four. So I have Baylor and Duke, which, I don't know. I'm not a fan of UCLA. St. Mary's is good. I think St. Mary's is going to beat UCLA. I mean, the Pac-12 was disgusting this year. Other than Arizona, but you don't know because Arizona really didn't play anybody other than UCLA this year. So they really didn't play anyone. So, Arizona, and we're going to the South here, looks fantastic. They look awesome. However, I'm going to make a prediction here. And it's crazy because no one in the world has predicted this. So, underneath Zona, which Arizona's going to win, Wright State, Bryant, who they're playing, you have Seton Hall and TCU. If TCU, Seton Hall, that's a pick-em, I think. If TCU wins that game, TCU has a very, very good shot at beating Arizona. TCU. Yes, I did say that. Why did I say that? Because I'm very familiar with that team, because I'm a Kansas fan, the Big 12. And TCU played Kansas 3 times in pretty much a 2-week span, and 2 times back-to-back, because I think one game might have got canceled, whatever it was. It was early in the season. And They beat Kansas, and then they played Kansas that very next game at Kansas and almost beat them again. And then when they played in the tournament, Kansas started pulling away late, and but they are a legit team that you do not want to see. They're very, very good. Again, I saw they beat Kansas, and they should have beat them at home. They should have beaten the second game as well. And Kansas just barely won that game. It came down to, like the last minute. And then when they played them in a tournament, the Big 12 tournament, they wound up beating them. And then, they beat them by, again, very, very close until like the last 3 minutes or so, 4 minutes. That's a legit, really, really good team, just like most of the 8-9 seeds. So TCU and Zona, be careful. You also have, who else coming out of that bracket? Houston, you don't know. It's a coin flip. Again, they haven't played anyone, but a lot of people are writing them off. So I don't think Zona makes the Final Four. I just think they're going to have a tough road. Maybe not just TCU. They got to beat Houston. But more importantly, you have Villanova, very under-the-radar team, which shows up on every list, whether it's BPI, assist to turnover ratio, all these lists. These guys, like, just most three-pointers made. Those are things you want to see in the tournament, which I look at, even BPI and stuff. And they're just off everyone's radar for some reason because they kind of just haven't been playing. I don't know. Just not a lot of media spotlight this year for Villanova. Could be a sleeper, but they're going to play Tennessee. Tennessee, out of all the teams, they're playing the best right now at any team in the whole nation. They're playing better than Gonzaga. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's. Tennessee. So could Tennessee fall? Yes, maybe. I have Tennessee going all the way through, beating Houston in Final 8, and then going to the Final 4, and I have Tennessee. And then I'm never biased here, but I think Kansas has a pretty good division. They have a good division. They do have a lot of turnovers, but the last 7-8 games that they played were very, very strong. They played great. I mean, during the season, I would have said absolutely no way, but they really hit their stride. And you have their 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th best players scoring 10 points a game. They're stepping up. You got Remy Martin coming back. They just look really good right now. So I have Kansas going through, although San Diego State will present a challenge in the second round. Iowa's in that division. That's going to present a challenge, but they're playing Providence. Providence is a really good team. I think Providence could beat Iowa. Iowa is a very, very good team. The best assist-to-turnover ratio. Won a tournament. They look very, very strong right now, but I just don't see that they're going to do. I think Kansas is a better team, and they got to go through Providence. Then on the other side, the two best teams are Auburn and Wisconsin. Auburn's a coin flip, how they're going to play. I don't think they're that good. I think they were overrated at the beginning. Now they're still a 2 seed, but I think Wisconsin is a very, very good team, good defensive team. Good turnover ratio. I think that they will beat Auburn and play Kansas in the Final 8, and then KU is my Final 14. So it's Duke, Baylor, Tennessee, KU, and I have Duke beating Baylor, and I have Tennessee beating Kansas. Like I said, I'm not being biased here, and I have Tennessee winning the whole thing. So I have a feeling I'm going to get every single game right this year, which happens, I think, once every 400 years or something. I think Geico used to give away, I don't know, we're going to give away $1 million or something if you sign up to this, right? And they got probably 300,000 names, which they pitched Geico and everything else, whatever, all over the place. Save money in your car insurance, 15%, whatever. 15 minutes can save you 15%, right? How many times have you seen that commercial? Man, the return on ad spend must be great because that commercial has been around for like 15 years. Anyway, that's my Final 4. Again, Duke, Baylor, KU, Tennessee, and Duke, Tennessee in the final, and Tennessee winning it all. They are just, I don't see any weaknesses in that team. I think the only thing, they could beat themselves. That's the only thing. Arizona could be really good. I haven't seen them play anybody. I saw them play a couple times this year. But even when they play UCLA, which was 3 times this year, I don't know if they definitely lost once. I think that the other game was close and they, beat UCLA. But UCLA is not a good team. So, yeah, the Pac-12, probably the worst it's ever been I've seen in probably 20 years. I mean, holy cow, what a crappy division. But let's see. Arizona does have great players, lots of height, looks great. But let's see if when they start playing some real teams and when they get into those pressure situations, which is going to happen in the tournament, definitely going to happen in the tournament. But I think they could be the team that you see an early exit, Arizona. A lot of people are picking them this year. But again, I haven't seen anything. I mean, Kansas had the toughest schedule strength. Gonzaga has been great all around. Great team. Duke's been up and down. Kentucky's been up and down. Arizona's kind of like, I haven't really seen them play anyone. If you look at all the other ones, Duke, Kentucky, Gonzaga, a lot of these guys played each other. Baylor playing Kansas. A lot of these guys had tough schedules. Even Villanova, the Big East, was really good this year. Zona hasn't really played anyone. They could blow everybody out and win it, but I don't know. I think the pressure's going to be on if the game's close and they're going to choke. So let's see if I'm right on that one. So, guys, that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview and you enjoyed the picks. Email me whenever you want about NCAA basketball. Again, one of my favorite times, and it's nice to see the market going up, which means, I might have a little bit of time to step away to watch a couple of those games and some really exciting stuff. So, guys, questions, comments, feel free to email frankcurzioresearch.com. You are getting this Thursday, so hopefully we don't see one of my Final Four picks actually lose early on, because you're going to get this and say, these guys already lost, but I'm assuming that we'll be okay in the first round, which, again, starts today. So, again, questions, comments, feel free to email anytime, frankcurzioresearch.com. Really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.